Hi, everybody. Good evening, everybody. Hope you're doing good. Um, so today we're going to talk about women and money. Money, money, money. And so, uh, oh, thank you. I think I made a mistake because I wanted to put the title, and I am not good on the internet, but I will find a way. So maybe anyway. Sorry. Okay, I think Tia asking me to participate. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. So I've seen Tia. Okay. When Tia comes up. Hi. Hope everything is good. Hey Tia.
Hey. I
Hey.
don't know. I don't know why my screen is a little bit messed up. What about, can you see my full face?
No, I feel like it's just like this. Like cut it a bit here, but yeah,
I don't
now
know
I don't know why
why.
now it's like rectangular. I don't understand.
Is this how is this the new Instagram live?
I think
Oh,
so.
no, that's not what I wanted to show. I didn't want to show my
And I put my phone like this, so I don't know.
Very interesting. Okay. Should I try to come like
Yeah,
back inside?
maybe probably if you
All
want.
right. Let me try to leave and come back because I don't know why
Okay,
it doesn't show
all
me.
right. Okay. Okay, guys, we're trying to some digital stuff. So hi everybody, thanks for coming. For those that don't know about the Feminist Style blog, is a blog that talks about women health, but we want to talk about women health in 360 degrees. So all topics that actually can influence women choices is the same.
Yeah. No, I guess we're just gonna have to go like this.
Yeah, you do. It's fine. Anyway, Tia is always beautiful as always, so I can
Oh,
say.
thanks, Lisa. You too.
Well, thank you so much for accepting our invitation. Eunice
For
and
having
I
me.
Eunice is our co-founder of the Feminist Style blog. She's a Ghanaian girl living in Canada, so hopefully she will be online. And we met in a congress where we talking about everything in general, and we ask ourselves, why don't we do something to give more space and voices to women health?
Yeah,
And when we started the blog, we wanted to actually share different stories from different voices and from different points of view. And
mhm.
in a previous article that we made, we actually realized that money and women, like money independence, is something that actually is very important in health.
Absolutely. Yes.
So I was thinking about who can talk about money, who talks about money, like, and especially in women world, we were the first person that actually came out, and so I'm so happy that you accepted
Well,
to this.
thank you guys.
I know you're very busy. You're doing a lot of things especially with your new page, Colori.
Mm,
That is an amazing page. I don't know, even if people that don't understand Italian, you should check it out. The new platform that's here in collaboration with other second generation Italians have created to give spaces to POC Italian talented in different fields.
yes, check it
So
out.
I'm talking too much. Please, for those that don't know you, can you introduce
Mhm.
yourself a little bit?
Yeah, sure. Well, first of all, thanks so much for having me. I love the questions you guys ask. Stay tuned because the questions are very interesting, and I actually had a lot of fun like coming up with the answers. So that's
Thank
first
you.
off. So I'm Tia. For those of you that don't know me, I'm the American girl in Italy. I moved to Italy at 18 to study economics. I went to Bocconi University, and after graduation, I went right into working. All this time, I've also been on the internet. I started an internet blog myself, which then kind of blew up into a bit more. And since then, I've worked a lot in digital, editorial, and advertising stuff. And so, yeah, I've had a bunch of different roles, but it's always been a desire of mine to talk more about personal finance because I had to learn through not having a choice. A lot of people get good at managing money because they don't have money. And so it's sink or swim. And that was very much my case in the beginning. But then when I went to business school, it was nice to have a structure to the things that I was doing because, of course, we know, spend less, work more, save your money, but we don't know, the mechanisms behind this capitalist system that we are forced to live in. So business school was very helpful to put a structure on what I learned, and all I wanted to do was share that information with people because marginalized groups, may it be women, people of color, foreigners, LGBT people, we don't get into those classrooms to get into those rooms to learn the secret keys of financial independence. So a lot of what I do is just democratizing the knowledge of finance speak. So yeah, that's me.
Incredible. Like, yeah, as you heard, Tia has actually kind of knowledge. And yeah, I met Tia through mutual friends. As she said, she moved to Italy, in Milan, that is 1 hour from Turin. So I thought that she could be actually a good person, the right person to give you a general knowledge about finances, how to manage money finances, especially for women that I don't know why uh, we feel so uncomfortable to talk about money, our
Mhm.
money, and finances. So the first question that I would like to talk, what is your topic? Like, what is your point of view about this topic, like women and their challenges of men talking about and dealing with money and with their finances?
Okay, so I feel like the reason that we are not comfortable with talking about money is because we're not taught by society or encouraged by society to think about it in that way.
Yeah.
No matter how much we try to fool ourselves into thinking that our feminism is so advanced, the mainstream media and the mainstream society still tells us that it's the man that's going to be the breadwinner. We're still encouraged to, get the man to pay for everything and find a man that is going to support you. Even in terms of work, yes, it said, go find your career, but it's kind of known that you should be with a man that is going to help you. It's very much a partnership, or so they say, and not enough emphasis on being your own independent person and standing alone. There's also the fact that, man, I had such good notes. Let me just refer to my notes real quick. Um,
Yeah, exactly.
Um, yeah, I said that society it's just not honest with women when it comes to finances, and so most of us find out the hard truths when we're already in them. For example, a big thing that I talk about now is the fact of maternity leave and maternity
Hmm.
and how much that choice of becoming a mother will impact your career and therefore your earning potential and therefore your financial independence. Most of us will not think of maternity leave until we think of having a child, but that's already too late. That's already too late to be making the right moves to prepare yourself financially to be able to be independent no matter what. So I think the big thing is just the fact that we're not prepared by society, we're not told by the media that we should be thinking of these things way sooner. And it's not, yes, partnership, but it's very important to be independent, because unfortunately, again, with the way society is set up, a relationship between a man and women will never be 50-50. As so long as women are the ones that have to carry the child and has to take off time from their career to recuperate their bodies, and so long as society expects the woman, unfortunately, to hold the brunt of the parenthood, we can't, it will never be the same. That will impact our career. It impacts employers and their decision making when they go to hire women, or when they decide to promote people within the company. Who am I going to promote? The woman that might have a baby and have to take a year off per baby, or the man that, regardless, he's going to be there. It impacts every aspect of our life. So long as that is true, the relationship with the man will never be 50-50. It will have to be either he's compensating more for the fact that you're not going to be working, or your career is limited by the fact that you're a woman, or it will be, I think is safer, that in the beginning, you as a woman overcompensate. I have been saving like crazy. I'm now in the mode where I'm trying to buy up my assets, buy up my investments, so that when the time comes that my career hits a block because of my gender, I won't be handicapped by it.
Wow. Get straight to the point. I mean, especially the fact that no matter what, we still are in a situation where we're not 50-50 with our partner, if our partner is a man. And it's so true, because another article that we would like to publish soon is about the pay gap between men and women, and it's so actually frustrating to see that one of the reasons that there is the pay gap is, for example, the maternity leave. And why is not like companies and society don't allow the women to continue working even part-time, or other situation, like helping the women to continue to be independent, even though like she's a mother or she's taking care of the child,
Yes.
And at the same time, company don't give even paternity leave.
Exactly.
I don't know why they don't, like,
because
okay, we have to
we're
start
not
from the fact
advanced as
we
we're
have
not
to start from the
as
fact.
advanced as we think we are,
Yeah,
because on the one hand, the fact of the no paternity leave just shows that society expects the woman to be the
exactly.
parent. Then the other half of the not giving women the opportunity to work through maternity in a way that's actually feasible, I don't mean coming into the office, is the fact that our corporate structure is based off of presence. And I'm happy, I mean, I'm not happy for COVID, but I'm happy that we're living in a moment where the companies and the structures are being forced to rethink these things. It's not about how much time you're physically present in the office that equals your productivity. Productivity shouldn't be tied to the amount of time you're physically present. Productivity should be defined by how much value you're creating. And who knows, maybe it doesn't take you 8 hours a day, 5 days a week to produce value.
Yeah.
So I'm happy that things are starting to be rethought, but there are so many layers to this issue, and unfortunately, the way it's presented most times is in a very simplistic way. There's the wage gap because managers are mean and we're sexist, and so they don't want to pay women more. No, it goes so much deeper than that.
Yeah, exactly, definitely, and I've been working for a while for this article, because, as you say, as much as you study, you discover a lot of things that you would like to put on, and at the same time, you would like to be as simple as possible to understand at least the general meaning, but it's not easy. And for this reason, I am so happy that, as you say, things have started to show up and people started to talk about. And you are one of the person with your series, Una donna che conta, that I translated wrongly because I thought a woman who matters instead. A woman that counts money. Yes. And this series in Italian, I'm sorry for people, but obviously, like, as she's in Italy, Tia, so she's now talking more to maybe the most audience that you have that's following you at the moment. And but in this series, just talk about money, finances, and I think like I thought that comes from even from because sometimes you share even the questions that people ask you about this topic, and and I'm happy to see it because, as I told you, or as I mentioned before, I would have known I would have wanted to know these things even from my youth age when I was 20, when I
Mm-hmm.
started to earn a little bit of money and start saving a little bit of money. I would like to know how to start managing my finances. So I think I'm very happy that you started to give some knowledge to the people to get curious about these things. And what are actually the maybe the question or the subject that you see people ask you most, or that people that are more interested to know about more?
Okay, so I found that the topics that are most important to my followers are, first of all, diversifying your income, which is something that it's not even specific to just women, but our generation, unfortunately, even before COVID, we don't have the luxury of having the cushy 9 to 5 job with the nice pension that you don't even have to think about, and you're going to be hired for life with planned promotions and pay increases. We don't have that. Our careers are not linear because of political decisions and
Mm-hmm.
demographic situations across the world. The job market has changed, and it's
Yeah.
very rare that you're going to have that one job where you're going to be able to stay your whole life and make the amount of money that you want to make. Honestly speaking, I have never been in a position in my adult life where I've worked one job that was secure enough and paid me enough. All of this time, I've
Mm-hmm.
been working 2 jobs. It's maybe very recently that I could do just one. But
Okay.
even then, you always have to make this trade off between earning more versus being more stable. The most stable
Mm-hmm.
jobs in Italy are not paying pretty much anything.
No.
And whereas lots of people, and I encourage people to get interested into, the influencer, content creator, these new jobs that are popping up because there's a lot of opportunity in those spaces, but they're not stable. And a lot of the ways that they're marketed, like you're going to make €1 million or even 3,000 euros a month, it's not like that. It takes a lot of time to be able to live off of an influencer salary. And even when you're able to live off of it, you don't know if you're going to be able to do it for a year or
Mm-hmm.
a
Yeah.
week. So we always have to make this trade-off. So my followers are very interested in ways to diversify your income stream. So that way, if one income stream dries up because there's a pandemic and you lose one
Mm-hmm.
or one slows down, you're not in such a critical situation. Another thing that my audience is really interested in is property and real estate. I think that's a
Mm-hmm.
cultural thing. I know that
Yeah.
I've read that Italians love their houses and they love buying houses, and
Exactly.
that is one route to acquiring capital and making
Mm-hmm.
your wealth grow. So that's a very popular topic on my channel. And another thing is investing and trading.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a big trader. I don't trade, I invest. And I have a
Mm-hmm.
YouTube video that I believe is in Italian, it might be in English, that explains the difference between investing and trading. But the point is, people are starting to get interested in participating in the stock market, which is really important because it's one of the fastest ways to, and more, and yeah, fastest and most secure ways to grow your money. And up until very recently, only white men were using it. Anybody can use the stock market, but since we didn't know how, since we didn't know that it was that accessible, we were completely cut out. So those are the three topics that my followers really enjoy, and I think it says a lot about how society is changing.
Okay. Yeah, actually, I think I watched one was a whole video about the difference between investing and trading with the other guys,
Hmm.
Luca can be, yeah.
Alessandro. Oh,
Alessandro,
oh,
sorry,
yeah.
Alessandro, yeah.
Hmm.
And yeah, there were two videos. One was the general about finances, and then another one was more specific about investing and trading, ETF. And
Right.
so I encourage you to check on Tia. There is there is their live in Instagram, but she has even a YouTube channel, and where she actually explain very well in a simple way for the starters how to navigate in this world. I am a student now too, so I've started even watching her video and watching other resources. Um, in fact, talking about investing, that you say that you're doing most compared to trading. Some people are a bit confused, or maybe they don't know a lot about the difference between saving and investing.
Right.
And what are the differences, and why do you think we should start investing? And what's your opinion amongst the one and the other? Which one you prefer? Or
Okay, so the difference between saving and investing is that saving doesn't actually give you anything extra. Actually, you think you're saving your money, but actually your money is losing value because of a thing called inflation. You probably have noticed, no, you for sure noticed that things get more expensive in time. In the 50s, you might have been able to buy a Coca-Cola for 50 cents, and now it costs more than $1 or €1. So the fact is that prices always go up, but our money, we still, at the end of the day, we only have $10 in
Mhm.
$10, and those $10 could have bought more before. So the idea is, because of inflation and the fact that prices will continue to go up, if you just leave your money in the bank and you're not increasing its value more than inflation, your money is actually losing value. So this is the main reason why people invest, because when you invest, you get a return on your investment. This return differs. Uh, if you invest on the American stock market, for example, on average, I think the yearly return is something like 10%. Uh, if you put your money in an investment tool at a bank, they usually tell you upfront what the interest rate will be. You have to know that inflation is also a rate. In Europe, I believe inflation is around 2%. So that means your
Yeah.
money is losing 2% every year. So you
Mhm.
want to invest in things that are going to give you more than 2% in return. So you can invest in government bonds, or that's basically loaning money to the government and they pay you interest for allowing them to borrow it. You can make a rate of return even from, okay, the one that most people know is the buying the house situation. How is a house an investment? A house is an investment because you buy it at a price. You're
Mhm.
supposed to wait some years. In theory, the value goes up, and then you sell it for a certain amount of money more than what you paid for it, and what you made is your profit.
Yeah.
Another way is when you rent it out. The idea is, if you buy a house and you rent it out, after some time, you're going to not only get back the money you paid for the house, but you'll have extra money, all of that profit. So that's another way to increase, or that's another way to think of it as an investment. But the
Mhm.
simplest thing is just the fact that saving your money, it's saving, but not really, because your money is losing value. And so you want to invest to get something back from your money. I
Yeah.
hope
This
that
is
wasn't
very.
too all over the place.
That is so true. And as you said, I think it's very in Italian culture to save money. I've seen even from my parents that have been here for more than 30 years, and they
Yeah.
have these things of saving, 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 saving. But lately, like, my mother started to invest too, because I think
Mm-hmm.
he started to understand that all this money, you just have it there, and so, like, you should,
Mm-hmm.
like, want to create a wellness or your wealth or an income. And so
Mm-hmm.
she bought a house. For example, she bought a house where we're living, and she started to do different type of investment through her bank, because
Mm-hmm.
she doesn't have good knowledge of investment. So it's normal, I've seen, even if you want to
Yeah,
maybe do an investment through your own bank, that you normally have your
absolutely.
bank accounts, and ask them the type of investment that you can do, even depending on how much you want to invest, obviously.
Exactly.
So it's a
I
very
just
important, yeah.
Yeah, I just talked on my Instagram channel, my Instagram page about Piano Cumulo di Capitale,
Mm-hmm.
which is in English a savings scheme. And that you can have them in any country. That's another investment essentially. You put a certain amount of money in it. They set some parameters like how much you're going to pay monthly or quarterly or yearly for how long, and then your money grows like that. So it doesn't have to be something risky like the
Mm-hmm.
stock market or something that seems, because I know people will be like, well, how am I going to buy a house? Houses aren't cheap.
Mm-hmm.
So with a piano di accumulo or a savings scheme, that's another way to grow your money and invest it rather than just letting it sit there and lose value to inflation.
Exactly. And consider like your saving scheme or piano d'accumulo. Consider that if you started before, you actually accumulate more money. So that's why
Absolutely.
it's important to know those things when you're younger compared when
Mm-hmm.
you're maybe 40 or 50 years. That's something that actually I've heard to so many um, professionals that working in finances. That's why it's important to let the message pass that is not you're not too young or you're not even too
No,
old to start investing actually or to start
exactly.
thinking about your finances. And
Mm-hmm.
actually it's better when you start at a young age because you can take advantage when you're maybe 30, 40 of the money that you earn for other investments, other projects of your life, and that can be like from buying house to go in another country for many other things. But at the same
Absolutely.
time I even understand that maybe some people, especially as you said in Italy, not having a stable jobs, it actually give you some fear to do
Mm-hmm.
those things. So maybe make you think like, oh, I don't have a stable job. What's the meaning of investing or something like that? If I can, I'm not able to maybe last
Mm-hmm.
survive till the end of the month. But
Mm-hmm.
instead, you actually, I really suggest many of you to start thinking because I had the same thoughts in my head like oh okay until I'm good I'm be a doctor or whatever like I will
Mm-hmm.
just then thinking about instead I thank my mother a little bit because she always trying to bring the money that maybe people or parents or relatives give me for communion or
Mm-hmm.
first communion second communion and investing.
Mm-hmm.
She said like, okay, give me this money, I'll invest it. This other, you can use whatever you want. And thanks
Yeah.
to her, like at least I have some small capital that I
Mm-hmm.
can reinvest again or use it if I have
Exactly.
one main project that I want to do. So
Exactly. Yes, that's one of the best gifts a parent can give to their kid, actually.
exactly, exactly. And talking about banks and everything,
Hmm.
what do you think the type of bank account that we
Hmm.
should have? Because now there's not only the typical bank account that we all think about, but actually the banks can offer you different type, depending of your goals or
Hmm.
aims that you want to achieve.
Hmm. I wouldn't make it too complicated. I'm looking exact
Mm-hmm.
on my notes exactly at what I said. Yeah, it's not necessarily important what the banks are trying to sell you because at the end of the day, the bank is trying to sell you a product. So maybe they'll say, "Oh, this account, we told you this account." No. What you need is an account for your emergency fund. And an
Mm-hmm.
emergency fund is something that is supposed to protect you against financial emergencies. There was a survey done that said something like most English people, most British people, didn't have enough for a 400-pound emergency. And there was another one in America that said basically the same thing. Most people in the world, or I guess in the Anglo-Saxon countries, would not be able to survive if, I don't know, they got into a car accident or somebody hit their car and it costs more than $400 to fix it because they had nothing saved. The
Yeah.
other day, I had to go to the dentist because my teeth were, I couldn't even eat anymore because they were so messed up. And it
Mm-hmm.
cost me 1,000 euros to fix my teeth. Meno male that I had them.
Yeah.
Anything can happen. Life happens to you. So people need to have, first of all, before they even start investing, okay, that yes, save your emergency fund. And how much should your emergency fund be? It depends on the person and what they want to do. Some people say 3 months, some people will say 6 months, some people will say they want a certain amount, like 10,000. The point is you want to be in a situation so that if an emergency happens, whether it be medical, whether it be natural disaster, whether it be the dishwasher that broke, you don't want to go bankrupt because of uh, an emergency. After you get your emergency sorted out, your emergency fund sorted out, and so you've reached the first step of financial stability, we'll say,
Mm-hmm.
then you should start looking into your pension. So that is an account that you should be thinking about. There will be some people that will just try to save their way to a pension. But most people will either invest that money on the market, or they'll buy some property, or they'll get a PAC or a fondo pensione, so a pension plan, to start saving their money for the pension. Then, once you know that you can survive an emergency and you know that you're not going to be homeless when you can't work anymore because you're too old, you can start thinking of other ways to invest and increase your wealth. So there's actually levels to it. When we were talking before about the fact, like, if you don't have a stable job, you're scared to invest. Well, we'll say that it's true. If you don't have a stable job, you might not want to invest yet. You might want to get your emergency fund sorted out. A thing that I thought about with this pandemic is it definitely showed how the importance of an emergency fund.
Yeah. Yeah,
Maybe
I
you
was about to say that if you would mention. Yeah, definitely.
Yes, because at least if you yeah, so if you have 3 months of expenses saved and you lose your job, at least you know that for 3 months you're okay. That's the logic behind it. We never want to be in a situation where we're depending too much on whether it be that one job or, yeah, really that one job. So there's levels to it. And for sure, the first level, the most important account, forget what the bank is trying to sell you. Get your emergency
I just
fund
found.
saved.
Yeah, definitely. As you say, I think the pandemic really make some people struggle because maybe they didn't consider about an emergency fund at all. Maybe, yeah,
Mhm.
they will have some money that's lasted from the last salary, but
Mhm.
something to survive like months, like 1 or 2 or 3 months. I think is a very, very important thing to consider and to organize
Yes.
themselves. So that's actually was a good point when you took it out from the answer that you gave us. And yeah, as experience or like in general, what do you think one of the worst financial decision or mistakes that a woman can take? And do you have any experience to share with us, or like in general?
Yeah, I think that in general, the biggest financial mistakes, and it's worse in Anglophone countries, is choosing the wrong thing to study. People, I'm
Okay.
sorry, but I know it's controversial, but this idea to just study your passion, it will leave you broke. Um, if you're
Okay.
if you're rich enough to study whatever you want, then by all means do it. But especially in the countries where education is more expensive, it makes no sense to spend more money on your education than you will be earning from that job, or to spend a lot of money and a lot of time. In Italy, the big thing is the time. Um, all of that time that you're studying is time that you could be working and saving, and time that you could be advancing your career. In economics, we call
Mm-hmm.
it opportunity cost. So studying a very long for a very long time, maybe not even, I'm not thinking like doctor, because that's different. At least you're going to study that long time and you know you're
Time,
going to get the job, and
especially in
it
US,
pays you well.
especially.
But I remember being in school, and people tended to redo exams just because the grade wasn't as high as they wanted. And so they would end up having to spend a semester, sometimes a year extra in school. And that was a year that you didn't work. That was a year that you could have been doing your internship, and now you would have a real job. And again, look at what the pandemic has taught us. We don't have time to be thinking like that. So I think that the biggest mistake that a lot of people make is not letting finances be a part of the education decision.
Mm-hmm.
Um, a lot of us don't have the luxury to just study something because we like it. I really liked the arts. I wanted to be an
Yeah.
actress for a long time. I wanted to write books. I am a creative person, but I was also poor growing up, and I knew that I couldn't go study creative writing and then be jobless. So I studied economics. And I studied economics at a school that, for me, coming from America, the cost of Bocconi wasn't that expensive. And then I got a scholarship. So when it came to choosing to go to a very prestigious school in America for $60,000 a year, or going to Bocconi that was far and I didn't know it, but they were offering me something. I chose the one that was offering me something for my finances. And then when it came to picking the career and the course of study, I picked something that I knew I was going to be able to find a job one way or another in. So that is the biggest thing, because if I'm as ahead as I am at my age, it was because I was lucky enough to make that decision when I did it. If I and I think that was the decision that determined pretty much everything in my life. So I know that it's controversial, but no, absolutely study something that will make you money. And then when you have your money, you can do your passions. Actually,
Yes.
now I get to make all of this content and be creative and do the things that I actually like doing, because I was able to make that financial foundation for myself. But don't fool yourself into thinking that when you don't come from wealth and you don't come from that rich family, that you can just do what you want when it comes to education.
So true. There's in fact being greeny. Alongside my
Hmm.
job, I'm still exploring, discovering my passions, but at least I can put food on my table. It's true. It's
Exactly.
actually true. Yeah, I actually have to. I'm kind of the same situation. Like, I mean, fortunately, luckily, I love medicine, and as you say, medicine is a part because I've never heard the story that a doctor doesn't find a job. So for that thing, I have to. I'm lucky that I love my job, but at the same time, now that I finished my studies from when I graduated, and I started to earn money when I was doing my specialization, I would say, okay, right now maybe I can even like discovering other things that I maybe I didn't do before because I didn't have the money, didn't have the time, and stuff like that. But but yeah, it's something that we don't think so much because always be a dreamer. Like I want to be, I want to follow my dream. I want to follow my heart, and and I have to tell you, like when I was doing when I was in my fifth year, I think I was doing my internship, my practice during the wards, and
Hmm.
a doctor talked to me directly. So they say, listen, because even the type of specialization that you want to do
Hmm.
now, okay, now there's a very crisis of lack of healthcare workers, but like maybe say like 4 or 5 years ago, there are some type of doctors that you find job easily everywhere
Hmm.
you want. There are some type of doctor that you don't find job easily, but maybe because you want to work in a certain place, in a certain hospital, and maybe because you have a family or something like that. So it's a bit difficult to find the comfortable place that you want to be. And so this doctor told me like I wanted to follow my dream because I wanted to be. She studied immunology,
Hmm.
and it's a very ultra specific specialization that not all the hospital has a word of immunology. So
Hmm.
I want to follow my dreams and everything, and I'm going through research scholarship that
Hmm.
is not a lot of money. It's not like you're an employer of it's like you're still like a student, okay?
Hmm.
And and she told me like if I knew I was going to, it's going to be hard like that to have like contracts, maybe I would have chosen another road.
Hmm.
And so she
Yeah,
told me
yeah,
like
I
think,
hear a lot of stories like that. And
yeah,
um and I can say from the other side that I'm happy that I ended up studying something, because and it's also true that I went on, it's always a journey. You can't make a
mm-hmm.
split second decision. Actually, before economics, or the reason I studied economics was because I wanted to go into tax law, because how
Okay.
much more money can you make than that? But then when I was at university, I looked at the law students and I realized that I never would ever want to be a lawyer. And then I continued the economics path, but I realized that most of the people in my course were going into consulting, and I realized I never want to be a consultant. And then there were the people that were going down the academic route. I realized I don't ever want to be an academic. Luckily, I found my niche in marketing and
Mhm.
like business development and business management. So it ended up working out. But it was a journey. It did take a moment for me to get here, but always let the economic part of the decision be in the back of your mind.
Yeah, especially nowadays, it's true. It's true. And what tips can you give to women to achieve their financial wellness?
I think just to plan ahead. That's really it. Realize that it's never too early to start planning. It's also never too late, but think ahead. Somebody said something really profound the other day. I can't remember who it was for the life of me, but they said that the situation that you're living right now is the fruit of what you did over the last 5 years. And it's true. So whatever I'm doing right now, it's to prepare for the next 5 years from now. I can't be thinking only of today and think, oh, well, I want to go on this vacation today because I want to do it today. Because if I think of the long-term future, whatever I'm spending on this vacation is what I'm taking away from my future.
Yeah.
I'm not the kind of person that tells people save all of your money and don't do anything. I'm not the kind of person that says don't go to aperitivo, don't go on vacation, don't buy the nice shoes. But make sure that your needs are met. Make sure that you have your emergency fund, your pension, and then after that you can do whatever you want. Make sure that in your budget, because that's another thing every woman should have a budget. Make sure you pay for your expenses, your needs, and then what goes with and also put some money to save. But then the rest, do it with what you want. Um, I hope I'm not all over the place with this, but the point is think ahead.
No, you were very clear actually. You were very clear because at the same time, I'm not saying that we're saying the same thing, but you can see that everything is very connected.
Yes,
So everything is connected. So when, as I say, like from the planning ahead, from the type of bank account that you have, for how managing your finances, everything is connected. And as you said, it's actually very true what that quote that you mentioned before, like what we're living how now is what we have done in the last 5 years, and what I'm doing now, I have to always consider in the future. Um, and I am personally starting to even, as you say, I don't say like not totally avoid social life or
hmm
buying like luxury things and stuff like that, but I have to even consider what are my priorities.
absolutely,
So
absolutely.
like if my priority is, for example, to at least um finally when I have my job that I really love and decide and finally know where I want to live, and everything, so I know that that time I have to buy a house. So I
Hmm.
have to prioritize now my finances for that time that I don't know if we're going to be
Exactly.
this year or in 2 years or in 3 years. So
Mhm.
I really get your points that of planning ahead uh, and starting from prioritize what do you want to achieve from now to, let me say, 2 3 years, like depending on what
Absolutely.
you stay now.
Absolutely. And I would also add that, you mentioned the word sacrifice, and that's crucial because people forget that again, unless you are born rich, you're going to have to sacrifice things. I mean, if I think back to my college days, I wish I could have traveled more. I wish I could have partied more. I wish I could have spent more in general, but I knew that I couldn't. I knew that I had my situation and I knew that what I wanted for the future. I knew that 5 years from now I wanted to be more financially stable. So let me save this money. Actually, really specifically, I knew that I wanted to have enough money to renew my permesso di soggiorno. So let me put some money away from that. There was always this idea that, you know what, I have to sacrifice now to get this thing. And then the quote comes back. All of those sacrifices that I made 5 years ago are the reason that I live a relatively calm life now.
Exactly, girls, like women and even men if they're online. Like, don't be stressful or too sad about the sacrifices that you're doing now, because definitely they're coming up later. Definitely. I am sure you, because like I think Tia and I, like I had a very good life. I'm not saying that I'm living my life, but I know the sacrifices that I've done compared maybe to my friends that maybe came from more well family, average family, and definitely now I think I'm satisfied. Not totally yet, because as we say, we have other plans, but I can't complain a lot, and I'm very happy of all the sacrifices I've done in my life, from studies and even expenses. Um, Instead, how women, like, basing on if maybe you're single, you're married, you have children. What do you think, like, some advices on how to manage the money, like that probably like finance is literally different from depending on the status.
Hmm. Um, as I kind of mentioned earlier,
Mhm.
I think that there's no difference. You, as a woman, because things will never be 50-50, you always have to be thinking of your financial stability. Unless you
Definitely.
want to depend on demand, but that is the most dangerous position you can put yourself in, I think. So whether you are married or single, you should always be thinking of your financial stability and whether or not you can stand on your own. Then, when you're married, there will be some shared responsibilities and there can also be some shared help. I mean, I'm not saying don't buy a house with your partner. Of course, you can, and of course, that helps. But always make sure that you're able to stand on your own, because when shit happens, and shit always happens, we know so many people that were madly in love, married for so much time, and then something happens and you're not in love anymore and you're not married anymore. And what can you do if you were depending on that person financially? Always think of it like, let me be able to stand on my own.
So true. I can give my personal experience with my mother. Like, my father didn't want my mother to work. As a African father, want to be the head
Mm.
of the house, they maintain everything. And my mother said, like, I don't want to ask you money for everything I want to do. It's too
It's simple
stressful.
as that. It's
And
simple as
thank God
that.
to that, because economic crisis came, my father lost his job, and my mother continued to work.
Mm. Mm. Actually, something similar. That the same thing happened in my childhood. The same thing. Economic crisis came. My stepdad lost his job, and my mom was the one supporting the whole family. It's actually unfortunately common, and yet, as I already said, we as women are disadvantaged when it comes to the work world and salaries and the pay gap. So no, I feel like of all time, and I just wanted to answer one person that I saw. Yes,
Yeah,
we are both in Italy.
yeah.
Um, from the beginning of time, women have been being told that we need to carry everybody else in the community. We have to be the one to support the man, raise the children, and even more so if you're a Black woman. Well, I say that this is a new era, and we need to start thinking of ourselves, our
Exactly.
mental well being, our physical well being, our
Amen.
financial well being. And then once we're good, yes, we'll be in a much better position to raise our children, be a better partner to our partners, keyword on partner. And yeah, we absolutely do need to think about ourselves and how independent we are.
Definitely, definitely. Apart if you is your choice to don't work. Like, I'm not saying that you have to work, but
Mm-hmm.
definitely,
I mean,
as you
I don't
say,
think anybody, I don't know many, me personally, I don't want to work. Let me say that. I don't want to work when I have children. I want to be a stay-at-home mom, actually. And
hmm
that's why I'm planning now and buying all of these assets and getting my money right. But I'm not going to be depending on my husband to provide for me. So no matter what you want in life, I really think that the key take home is still to try to be independent. I'm in no way trying to push the idea that there is
hmm
one type of woman that is
exactly.
more about. Absolutely not. I'm with you on. I'm tired, but
Girl.
you don't want to put
Girl.
yourself in a position where you're depending on another
Exactly.
person.
Exactly, totally. Um, and another thing that I wanted to mention during this live, because and this particular um is in particular in Italy, because in Italy we have a very good national health system that everybody in the world envy us, but
Mm-hmm.
that actually is in a big crisis, because I don't know if you know, but as many other countries, we have a very public debt.
Mm-hmm.
And every time when a new government comes in, where they're trying to cut the money is from health systems.
Mm-hmm.
And what does it mean? That the health system can cover most of the services that normally used to cover, and so many services has became actually you have to pay. Not maybe as in a private clinic, but you have to pay a little bit more. So if somebody
Mm-hmm.
have noticed, probably our parents and our grandparents have noticed that some services have been increasing prices, and
Mm-hmm.
at the same time, the waiting list for doing the services has become longer, longer, and longer. That people get
Mm-hmm.
tired, and obviously, if it's even can be a serious condition, they go immediately to private clinic because they cannot
Mm-hmm.
wait months. I'm saying months. So, and in your last series of A Woman Who Counts, you talk about your experience. You mentioned even before
Yeah.
with the dentist, with your problem with your tooth, and I think it's very important, because I think it's important now to introduce the term of health insurance in Italy, and that it has become very popular nowadays. That I've seen
Mm-hmm.
from even banks, because normally here in Italy they tell you, because maybe you're going abroad, and where the Italian system doesn't cover everything if something happens abroad, so they give you an health insurance. And now they're actually give it to you, propose you to have an health insurance even in Italy, if maybe you have some injuries, and especially for those people that don't have a very high salary, and something happens, they cannot cover the service. So what what's your point of view? And
Okay.
consider that you are even American, where instead the
Mm-hmm.
health insurance is the first thing that maybe you have to do.
Yeah, yeah, actually. I mean, I noticed that we're going towards the limit of the live. So do you want to do, if this shuts off, do you want to continue on another
Yeah,
one? Like
because
okay,
we are. I think it's the another one question that is the last
right.
question. So yeah.
Okay, okay. So my perspective. First, I have to say that coming from America, and it's a human thing to try to simplify things. So you think of American health system, and the first thing that you go to your mind is, the people that die in emergency rooms because they didn't have health insurance. First of all, I've never heard of that actually happening or seen that happen to somebody. What they don't realize is that the United States, there are 50 United States, and every state has a different system. And I
Okay.
come from a state that's very close to the European way, because there's subsidized healthcare.
Mm-hmm.
And my family has never been in an issue where they had to pay excessive health bills. They always had insurance because their jobs provided it. My stepfather was in the military, so there's an option for them. Whenever my mom had a job, there was an option for them. During the crisis, when my dad lost his job, and so my mom was the only one working, we were eligible for the state insurance, because there's also that option if you don't
Okay.
make enough money to pay for health insurance. And so given that, we were always covered, and I was always able to I went to the doctor once a year, the dentist once a year, and I also had psychological services covered. So my experience with American healthcare was actually amazing. Now, in Italy,
Okay. Okay.
uh, I personally haven't had the best experience with the public
Mhm.
systems. Y'all, I tried. I really tried. I had issues. Luckily, I've never had anything serious. And from what I know,
Okay.
the
Yeah.
Italian healthcare system is better when it comes to emergencies and chronic illnesses. So there, I've never had to deal with that, but I've had other issues. For example, I used to have really, really bad acne, which I then found out was caused by my underlying PCOS, which is a health
Okay.
issue. It's a chronic health condition.
Mm-hmm.
Then, as I said, the issue with the dentist, dental isn't really, it's not, from what I know, it's not covered at all in Italian
No.
healthcare. And now I've recently started going to a therapist because I needed to. I started going to therapy again. And so that is also something that, from what I understand, is not really covered by the national system. So on the one hand, we have this idea, we like to think of simplicity, and we simplify in our mind that Italy has public health. You need to think outside health is offering you. But as you just explained, it's more complicated than that. Public health has been consistently defunded for the last 20 years or something. And so the result is what we see now: excessive lines, not great service. I did also notice, at least in Milan, in my experience, a difference in the facilities. When I go
Yeah.
to the private hospitals, they look like the hospitals that I went to in America. When I went to ASL, well, it didn't. Um, so for
Yeah.
me, after numerous not so great experiences going public for everything, or in Milan, there's Centro Medico Sant'Agostino, which I always shout them out because they're like via di mezzo. They're
Mhm.
not private and they're not public, and also the prices are more or less in the middle for them. And when I had to do my fix my teeth, since I knew that I had a lot to do, I actually went and got insurance for that. And so the insurance actually brought the price down. The
Mhm.
1,000 euros that I paid was with insurance.
Okay.
If
Wow.
at Centro Medico Sant'Agostino, so the Via di Mezzo, if I went private and didn't have insurance, I was probably looking at 2-3 thousand to fix my problem with my teeth. So you wouldn't have thought of it, but yes, it is absolutely necessary to look into health insurance, even in Italy, that has a good public health care system, especially if you're a woman, because I also found out that a lot of those services that they've been cutting, a lot of them are for pregnant women. Pregnant women have to pay for so much in this country that has national health care. So definitely, my opinion is, if you can afford it, you should probably get it until we can elect better politicians to um, fix the broken systems.
Exactly. Yeah, I even started to tell everybody actually, like, you should start to consider private health insurance because the system is going down. Like, it's going really down because, as we know, it's a public health system. It's based on taxes, and as we know, a lot of people now are losing their jobs. They don't earn
Mm-hmm.
them off, so they could not afford a lot of taxes. So actually, we are going to pay for them. So we're going to cut, continuing cuts, even though actually it should be a system where to invest more money. But this is another topic that they should talk with politics and everything. And yeah, is I'm happy that you mentioned as one of the things that from our 20 we should think about to invest. And so I'm very happy that you stressed the statement, the message that we, even though like it is a public health system as in other countries, so we're talking about everybody that stay in a European country, we even start to think to pay an health insurance for any cases, anything that can happen that we might not be able to pay for our health service.
Mm-hmm.
And last question, and
Mm-hmm.
thanks so much for being with us.
Thank
Like,
you.
really, it was so nice, and I could see even from the comments that even people were so happy. And what's the resources that we
Mm-hmm.
can actually check, read here for somebody that wants to start approaching in finances, knowledge, and
Okay.
as a starter beginner?
Okay, I have a list. So in
Hmm.
English, Patricia Bright. She's
Yeah.
amazing. She's a Black woman entrepreneur, and she gives great pills. In Italian, I would suggest my friend Picuniami. She
Yeah.
is a bank manager, also Black woman, and she gives great advice and great insight on the Italian world of banking. Then there is my friend Alessandro, like I already mentioned. He's a professional trader, and he makes a lot of great content and a lot of insightful content about investing in Italy, and that's also in Italian. And yeah, most of my resources are online, which I think is better. And then, yeah, my only advice would just be to get curious and start as soon as possible, because there's no better time to think about your financial well-being than right now.
Definitely, definitely, definitely. And yes, I actually confirm with Patricia Brights and Pecuniami and Tia herself, because
Oh,
as I say,
thanks.
I started my journey, and they are so actually helpful for someone that really I started from zero. Like it's not that, because my competitors is just in the medical field. So I was like, okay, yeah, I'll have my bank account, I'll save money, and that's all. So by I actually started to feel that I should do more with my finances, and start planning, start thinking about my future, and really, really, really start now. Start
Yes.
now, whenever is your age. Start now. Start asking questions to your parents, like, mommy, like, I would like to do something more with my money and everything. Be curious and don't be scared. Just read and just ask, like, Ami of Pekunyami, Tia, and really nice people. So you can read our resources. First, read and check. Don't ask without reading and check, because my thing is like, don't ask questions without seeing, because if not, it's not worth it. Like, after you read something and everything, you have doubts, just write to them, because they're very nice and they will answer you. And I mean, ask questions even to your bank. People that are working in the bank, they're there, they have competencies, that their work is to actually give you advice, talk to you, helping you. So as when they
Absolutely.
ask me question about health, I'm here for that. I'm a doctor, so I actually have to answer you, help you to understand better, and to help you to do your best choices. So definitely. Tia, thank you very, 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 very,
Thank
very,
you,
very much,
Ether. Thank you.
because it has been amazing, amazing hour, and I think it's going to be helpful for many women, and I think even men, because at the end of the day, we everything that we've spoken, apart maybe from some questions, but the rest can be helpful for everybody.
Hmm.
And
I
so thank
agree.
you so
And
much.
again, if you're heterosexual and you're going to be with a woman, these issues are still relevant to you. If a woman is
Exactly.
supposed to be your partner, you have to know these things too.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly, definitely. This page is for everybody. Like, we wanted to give space to women, because we think, like, in other places they're not given a space. But this is actually for even for men to understand some things that happens that maybe they're not realizing. So definitely, this is actually, as you say, very important for everybody. Um, Thank you. See you soon,
thank
and
you.
have
Thank
a nice
you.
good evening. And
Good
Ricky
night,
Rico for
guys.
me.
All right. Ciao,
Bye, guys.
ragazzi.
Bye, bye.